Hey guys, thanks for listening to the Spiritual Grind. We hope you enjoy it, and don't forget to follow, hit the little bell for your notifications when the podcast is posted, and like, follow, and share with your friends. We hope you enjoy it. Leave a comment if there's any topics that you want us to speak about.
Like, follow, share.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jenny. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Spiritual Grind.
Good morning.
Well, that sounded like Robin Williams almost. You forgot the Vietnam part.
Oh.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you back for tuning into us. Thank you for tuning back into us. Oh, I said that completely backwards.
That was a Willy Wonka moment.
Yeah, it was. Thank you for joining us. Something. Whatever I said.
And then, nope, stop, reverse that. That's what he says.
Yeah, reverse that. I said it wrong. Anyway, well, we are back and recovering from the expo in Dallas this last weekend.
I mean, recovering is kind of a harsh word.
Well, yeah, not recovering, but I just mean like, I don't know, re-gearing back up for other things.
Yeah.
And trying to get things growing more and more and more. And thank you guys for hitting 43 countries now. We're downloaded in 43 countries as of yesterday.
That deserves an applause.
A round of applause. 43 countries now.
Nice.
And our daily interactions are over 1,800.
Nice.
So it's great.
Yeah.
It's great, getting big. Thank you all for listening, 100%. Don't forget to leave us a comment if you like something, or if you don't like something, or if you want us to talk about something. Hey, we'll take anything. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I know we're just so awesome that you have no questions or anything, because we just give you all of the information perfectly every single time.
Yeah. Reach out. We'll talk about anything.
Yeah.
You can find us on YouTube and make comments there, right?
Oh, yeah. You
can make comments on the website, which I always try to put the link in the description.
Yep, that's www.themerckcenters.org. And
then I noticed I can make comments on I listen through the Prime Music thing or the Amazon Music. And then I also have the Apple podcast doodad too.
Yeah, Spotify. It's on every podcast.
You can make comments through those as well, and they'll come to us. So
for sure.
Any questions or comments, or want to talk about a particular topic that's going on in your
bubble, just drop us a comment.
We'll help you the best way we can.
For sure. And we'll reach out to you and get detail on the topic you want to cover.
Yeah, because, sometimes, let's get real about it. Being spiritual beings, living this human journey can be challenging, man.
Yeah.
It really can. Especially if you're hiding things from yourself or you've got things really covered up. I think that's one of the things that I've been experiencing the last couple of days is I was hiding a concept from myself. And coming back to Texas stirred that back up.
Yeah.
And it's, it's my higher self and my being that says, okay, we're going to bring this up because it's garbage that's floating around that you don't need anymore.
Right.
And what the topic was for me, I don't know what topic you have in play, but it's success and how I'm defining that and who I'm using to idolize or symbolize that word.
Internal success.
And what I learned is that for me, that's my younger sister. I always viewed her as the good child, the one that's successful, the one that always does everything right. My parents are always so proud of her, and I'm the black sheep who's outed and not doing things right
Right.
because I didn't go the journey and the path of like going to work for a company and working for them for years.
Yeah.
And putting money back in the savings and having a big retirement fund and, the big giant house and
Well, what you're
all of that.
explaining, I think, is comparison, really.
Well, yeah, I'm comparing myself to her, but the caveat to that is I'm doing it based on a story I created about her.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea if any of those things I just said are even true about her. I don't know what her life looks like.
Right.
I don't know what her journey looks like. I just created my own story. I didn't validate it at all. And then I took and I used that individual as my totem to mimic for success. So
It became a
the
parameter
word
to
success
the range.
has a definition, but then for me, it also has an individual that's representative of that success based on the story I created in my own head.
Yeah. And
I didn't even realize I was doing it.
We do that as humans a lot, not just with siblings. Like back in the day, I read a book called The Pecking Order. Mm-hmm. And that book taught me a lot about how parents are and the psychology behind being the oldest, the youngest, the middle.
Right.
And how we have a way that the oldest and the middle, if there's more than two, they compare themselves because
I think it's even if there's,
it could be many. Yeah.
Even if it's just more than two, I think even if there's just two,
yeah,
one always ends up comparing with the other and they compare themselves. Because
it's taught, like in the Pecking Order, the book, it talks about how parents use the first one to be all protective. And then by they get to the last child, if it be the second or 14th, it doesn't matter. By that time, they are just more proud that they don't have to worry about what they did in the beginning, and so they become more proud, I guess, of their youngest. And that youngest,
I don't know that they become more proud, or that it just becomes, it's kind of like being on the job. It's just more confident.
Yeah. Probably, yeah.
The things I worry about with my first child, I come to realize that I don't necessarily need to worry about that. It works itself out.
Right,
or
it's experience.
It wasn't a necessary worry. And so then you don't put that in place for the next child. You just inadvertently raise them differently.
Well, yeah, and then there's traits that you obtain over how you're raised. There's personality traits that you carry along through your life. And like for example, in the Pecking Order, the book talks about how the eldest is always the one that's looking back and trying to be the perfect child.
Right.
But the middle child or the youngest child feels like that they're living in the shadows of the oldest the whole time.
Yeah. And now that I do know to be an accurate description, because my sisters and I have had conversations about this.
Mm-hmm.
And in those conversations, they both have said, we feel like you're the perfect child,
mm-hmm.
and you were the one the parents liked best. And we always felt like we had to live up to whatever you do and did. And I'm like, wow, that is completely opposite of my perspective of it.
Yeah. And the one of the parts of the book is the oldest child always seems to get all the responsibility.
Yeah.
And then they carry that into their life, and they carry this burden that they've got to have all these responsibilities and they've got to be in place, but yet they end up realizing that they don't. And so it actually pendulums.
Yeah. I went through that as the oldest. I felt like it was my responsibility to take care of these two girls, especially coming from divorced parents.
Yeah.
And we ended up being raised by our father. I I guess inadvertently felt like it was my responsibility to take the mother and the wifely role.
Mm-hmm.
And so I ended up taking care of what I perceived as taking care of my two sisters and taking care of my father, so to speak, and carried that with me. And I got to a place where I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I ain't taking care of them. I'm not. This is not my job. It's not my responsibility. I ain't doing it. So I did. I went through the shadow work of that and letting go of all of that.
And then sometimes the pendulum never balances back out. And so like for me, I'm the youngest child. And so I spent all of my life.
No wonder you act like such a baby.
Are you right? This is not to pick on James Day. I'm kidding. But being the youngest child, I felt like I was living in the shadow of my eldest brother all the time. And then, but I on the other end of that still pendulumed the opposite way, to where I got to where I wanted to be. Everybody was shadowing me.
Yeah.
And it kind of drove me.
Right.
And so, and then everybody always thinks siblings, the parents look at the youngest as they do no wrong.
Yeah.
And that's really what happens is they get to where they do no wrong because it's the last child. It's the last, the last one that they have an opportunity to, make on that they're perfect. And so it becomes almost a dissension between the ranks.
Uh-huh.
And then we have a tendency, like in the book it talks about in our professional life, we have a tendency to actually mimic these in our careers and how we do things. But here's the part of it that actually you brought up the topic I was going to actually bring up. And that is, how do we compare ourselves to others, and why do we do that?
Right.
And this is one of the back things that I have read over the years in studying like sales methods and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I've always asked people: are you the youngest? You the oldest? What are you? Your siblings?
Right.
Because I want to know how they're going to be.
Right.
And we do that to ourselves subconsciously.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was doing. And even though all of the in-depth work that I did around that over my lifetime, I come back to this place called Texas.
Yeah.
I haven't been here in 10 years.
Right.
And it revealed to me that I still had this little luggage where I subconsciously, and didn't even realize I was doing it, still had this comparison thing going on with my younger sister.
Yeah.
And why the younger one, I don't know, but that's just the one I chose to use as the symbology of success.
Right.
And so every time I didn't do what she was doing or didn't have what she had, I was judging myself and saying, "Oh, see, you're not successful. You are the rogue child of the family, the black sheep."
Yeah, because the oldest never get a chance to be a child. That's what that book says. Is their childhood era always gets shortened.
Yeah,
because like the parents will be like, "Oh, hey, take this, the baby bag for the baby to the house," or and so the responsibility is different. And then you get the middle child or the younger child. They're taught to be immature and irresponsibly. Or they don't have to carry their own diaper bag or any of that stuff. And then the middle child just gets stuck in the middle.
Yeah.
And because they're kind of ping-ponging back and forth, and generally the middle child is the one that kind of hovers in the quietness. They just kind of get their own little area, and they kind of just stay out of the tension.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different when you come from what they call broken house or divorced family, too.
It is a little different, I agree.
Because I know that for my middle sister, she verbalized always feeling like she was kind of left out. Mm-hmm. And
that's what I mean by that is they isolate themselves a lot.
Yeah.
But they do it because they feel like they're in between and they're isolated and they're left out of things a lot, or they get no opinion on things either.
Right. Yeah.
And so they don't voice themselves. Mm-hmm. But in the world, as humans, and especially now that if you're going through an awakening process and you're trying to figure out why you do things and identify those beliefs within you.
Yeah.
Knowing where you are in the pecking order and kind of reading. If you, I mean, you can find that book. It's a huge book. It was, it was a New York Times bestseller back in the mid '90s.
Yeah.
It's still out there, I promise you. But what you'll discover is you carry that into your subconscious behaviors when you interact with normal people outside the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And you can either do it in a beneficial way or you can do it in a non-beneficial way.
That's right.
I think for me, it was the motivating factor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for me, it was necessary to have that totem of, or that symbology of success, because it motivated me to strive to be better than her. And so I accomplished things I may not have accomplished had I not had that.
And there was a phrase in that book
there
that really rang a bell for me.
And so I am grateful. I'm grateful for the position that she held. Mm-hmm. It's just that I've now outgrown that and I don't need that extra nonsense running around. So I've been redefining the word success and the symbology of success for me because, the reality is, for me, I wake up every day doing what I love and enjoy. That's success.
Yeah.
Even the parts that are not societally defined as pretty, there's still moments of success because they taught you whatever it was that you came to learn.
Correct.
And so even in, for me, I've been married before, but I, at one point in my life, was defining that as not a success or not even as a negative thing.
Right.
Like, I can't even make a marriage work, much less a career, much less a whatever. But as I come through it and look at it on the other side of the coin, those are even categorized as successful points because I did go through those challenging relationships. I survived them. I came out on the other side educated, and recognized what they were there to teach me, took the teachings and integrated them. And that's success. That's part of what I am bringing into my new definition of success as I get ready to close this chapter and get rid of that extra baggage of still holding her as the idolization of success equals this, which was a subconscious thing still harboring around.
So there's a phrase in that book that really kind of resonated with me, and it really applies to this topic today.
Yeah.
And that is the oldest child expects the youngest child to be the opinionated one, the spoiled one. And then the youngest child expects the oldest child to be the responsible, the mature, the ones that are always supposed to be successful. And then the middle child normally will just remove themselves from the scene completely.
Yeah.
They won't, and they'll talk to both sides, but they don't tell the other side that they're talking to the other one.
Yeah.
And they just sort of like keeping the energy of being the middle sister there or middle brother there, or whatever it is, the middle sibling. And the crazy part about it is most of the time in this book it said that, 22% of the time more, the younger child becomes more successful than the oldest child, not because of how they were raised, but because how they lived their life comparing themselves to the image they have created of their oldest sibling.
Right.
And so they're trying to surpass that in the eyes of their parents or in the eyes of everybody else, and including their siblings.
Yeah. And so you bring up the rabbit hole concept of this whole paradigm. It can be beneficial because it usually is the motivating factor that pushes us along the trail.
For sure.
But it can hide, kind of lurk around in the shadows if you're not careful and turn into a point of unhealthy self-judgment.
Contention, yeah.
if you're continuing to compare yourself to someone outside of you and then judging yourself harshly and criticizing what you're doing, you can do what I did, which essentially was I'm judging myself and what I've done through my life or what I'm doing currently up against an image that I created of another individual and go into that kind of comparison. Well, I'm not successful because I don't have this, or I'm not successful because I didn't do this. And that.
Oh. I got a quarter in the jar today.
More money in the jar. And that's what's been revealed to me over the last couple of days as I do the cleanup in my own bubble.
Yeah.
Is that subconsciously I was still, and what brought it about is that we're in town. So I reached out to my family that lives here and just told them, hey, I'm in town. I'm in the area if you want to get together and share a meal or whatever. And so we went to dinner. We had a very, very lovely dinner and great interaction. Caught each other up on what's been going on in our bubbles, and I thought it was a very pleasant interaction.
Oh yeah, totally. I think it was.
But subconsciously, what it did was it brought to the surface for me what I was identifying as success and what I was using to symbolize that of me trying to meet this template that I had created and this placeholder called my sister that I used to visually identify the definition of success.
Yes.
And further come into the realization that, it's been 10 years and I don't know what her life truly looks like.
Right.
The story that I created, I don't know if there's any truth to that or not. I have no clue. All I know is it's a story that I created and I didn't do the homework to validate if there was any part of that story that's true and accurate.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm basically using a story that's a lie to gauge whether or not I'm successful up against a individual that I kind of put in that idolized place of representation of the word success.
That you have no idea is even true or not.
I don't.
Right.
And so I have been spending the last couple of days kind of cleaning that up. I don't really even know why it's necessary to have the word in our vocabulary of success.
Right.
Because the rabbit hole concept of it is we come to have human experiences. And so as long as you're here having experiences, which you are, every single thing is
everything is an experience. Yeah.
Even if you choose to sit in your house and not socialize and be a hermit, that still is an experience.
Right.
Then you're doing and completing the mission.
Yeah.
And that's success.
Agreed.
And so any and everything that you're experiencing, even if you feel like it was harder than other things or unfun or not beneficial, it wouldn't have been done by you if it wasn't part of the mission.
Correct.
And so therefore you are always successful because you're always completing your human mission.
Correct.
There is no part of the human mission that's not part of the mission.
Right.
No matter what it looks like.
Yeah, and no matter how you frame it in your conscious mind,
right,
at all, it doesn't matter.
It served a purpose somewhere along the way.
Right, and all it is about being true to yourself. Like because one of the topics that's in this book is about authenticity. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of checking back in with it when I was in the shower this morning because I knew we were going to talk about this subject today in this topic. And the authenticity that people do. So here's the trick that I found many years ago in this book that really kind of resonated with me. And that is authenticity is only judged by others. Mm-hmm. If you're authentic to yourself, it really doesn't matter. But that's because that is an outside premise that's trying to help guide your reality into a way to where you have to act like you have to act and do things that people expect you to do because of an opinion another person has.
But even that, the rabbit hole concept of that is that even being in moments where you don't feel like you're being authentic, they have teachings within them. And if you weren't meant to go in that direction, you would have never been inspired to go in that direction.
That's correct.
And you were inspired to go in that direction and creating a situation for yourself that made you, I guess, flow through the reality not authentic was because you knew subconsciously, or the higher self knew, that there would be some great learning and transformation from that.
For sure.
So even that, those moments of feeling like you're not being authentic, they have learning within them that you wanted to experience.
Well, that's part of the journey of the siblings, and that interaction is.
It doesn't always have to be a sibling thing.
Right, no.
You can take any being and idolize them to the point where
that's where I was going.
It's not beneficial anymore. It served its purpose. You just got to watch for the moment in time when it becomes not necessary and not beneficial. And
right,
that's
and
what I've been experiencing in the last
we've had
days.
over the last few months, there's been this big trend online about that imposter syndrome, and we did a podcast about it.
Yeah,
and I think where a lot of people they get this all confused is about their authenticity meter.
Okay,
because you get told all this life, even when you're growing up, and to kind of tie it all back together with the siblings, is when you're the youngest, you should be you should be acting like your sister. You need to grow up. And so you become fake it till you make it, which in turn removes your own internal thought of authenticity
or identity, or who am I?
That's right. It confuses it identity, because that's where in the book, talking about this, it talks about how the youngest is almost always that person that will be passive aggressive and change their identity around everybody rapidly. And it's the same thing, it's just the opposite of the oldest. The oldest almost always, once they find their spot, stays there. And so, but then the pendulum happens, and then you end up going back to that spot to where whatever you did, it happens. But what I'm getting to is this imposter syndrome, this rivalry things that we've been taught by the collective of you're comparing yourself constantly because you want to be better and you want to be successful and you want to do the things that this person does. When all reality, it's all about the definition of success that you have, which you just perfectly defined. I think that was a perfect definition of it, because you were here to be successful and do human experiences.
Right.
We're not here to become Bobby Joe down the road because he's got a nice car. We're not here unless that's part of something that you want.
Right, exactly. Or stay in your job for 155,000 years because you think that that's the definition.
That is such an antiquated belief
of success, unless
that's comfortable for you.
What you want your life to be, and it's a point of joy and enjoyment. Go back to using that emotional gauge.
Yeah.
And if you're enjoying that, then stay where you're at, for sure. Absolutely. But if you're not, then take that opportunity to check in with it and maybe look at your definition of success and see.
Because that's where.
How am I defining this? And I came to the place over the last couple of days of, do I even need that word?
Success.
Yeah. I mean, do I personally even need that word to exist in my personal bubble to even warrant a definition? Because, like I said, every single journey that I've been on is a success because I went on it, I did the mission, and I learned and growed.
You growed? I growed.
I learned and growed from it.
I growed from it.
So that is a success to me.
And that's where a lot of people get this confused, because success is measured by comparison. That's
It's
where
measured
people are
by
doing
a
it.
lot of different things.
Right. But like I'm saying, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is because when you look at something and you idolize that thing and you decide you want to become that thing, you get taught by society to fake it till you make it, put yourself in that idea, in that image spot, or in the daydream that you're going to have that, and work the steps, create a workable plan that you can to create and become whatever it is that your goal is. And that's where they measure, and most people define success is when they have created something,
Set a goal,
and
achieve
made it
that
to
goal. Then they say, all right, that was success.
it. Right. But the problem is because we're trained as robots when we go through the school growing up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nobody ever tells you what to do after that. And that's where the confusion of things, where we continue the rest of our lives comparing ourselves to others.
Okay, do tell.
And so, like, for example, you have here's a great
You
example.
can use me as an example.
No, not you. I don't want to
because
use you as an example, because this one for me is much this topic. I think we're working on two sides of the topic here, and I want to keep it there.
Okay.
Like, I have a friend of mine that he always wanted to be a top guy in his company.
Okay.
And when he got there, I asked him, so what do you do now? And he had nothing to respond to. And I just happen to know his banking order and stuff. I know that he is the young child, the youngest of his siblings. And so when I asked him that, he was completely lost. And so now he goes into, well, maybe I'll do this or maybe I'll do that, because now he's at that point of success that he had defined, that now he's lost. And they get bored with what they're doing and blah, 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 blah. When what you just said, I think, is the trick to not getting yourself into that spot where you're comparing yourself to others more than you really should.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, you're here to have your journey, not somebody else's.
Right.
And you're definitely not here to live up to anybody's expectations.
Right.
Because if you're here to do that, you're going to fail every time.
Absolutely.
And so you have to fulfill your own stuff. But this topic of this book, the Becking Order, for me was kind of educational, subconscious training for me, to make me more understanding of what it is that I wanted in life.
After you reach each success point or
That's
each
right.
goal,
Yes.
where do you go from there?
Yes.
I see.
And so when it comes to creating that comparison spot, which is what creates imposter syndrome. And because you get to where, okay, I want to go be my boss now. But, I can't act like him. I can't be that person because that's not who I am. And so it causes that internal turmoil. And in the sibling order is where those things have a tendency to come from within the complete societal system. Everywhere you go. Like, even when you first start, when the oldest of the sibling goes through kindergarten, and the teacher just loves that one because they're the ones that's been given all the responsibility.
Right.
And so they act behaved. They're in control.
Yeah.
And then when the youngest comes through that same teacher, well, you need to act like you're, that's you should be doing, I had your brother or your sister here, and they didn't do this.
Right.
I used to get that all the time.
Oh, yeah. See. Yeah.
I got it all the time. And
that's an area I never even thought about, too.
Yeah.
I wonder if my siblings experienced that.
I'm sure they did.
Because I just never even gave it
and
any
it puts
thought.
a little thorn in your butt, because I am the youngest.
Yeah.
And it irritates the far out of me when I get compared to my oldest brother.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
It's, as the oldest, it wasn't even something I thought about, is how it looked for them to follow me in school, because I still viewed myself, even in school, as, the black sheep, the troublemaker, because when I've talked about this before, when I was coming up through school, we weren't stationary. We traveled a lot.
Right.
And so I feel like I kind of lived my school life in the shadows. I didn't really have a group that I fit in with. And as life unfolded and we got more stationary, my siblings got the opportunity to have a more stationary life in their schooling, but they still had to follow me. And I feel like I was kind of the troublemaker, so I don't know that they got compared to me in a good way.
What's actually, whatever it happens, it gets carried down. So
interesting.
This is 100% proven scientifically and studies and everything else. But
well, then
no matter what it is,
hard journey in school. Maybe they had an easy journey because maybe they got to be told, "Wow, you're so much better of a student than your sister was."
Right. That's where I was going.
Meaning me, because I was quite a troublemaker in school. Because when we got settled, I was, coming into my tween years, and I was mad. I was angry and mad that life was unfolding the way it was for me. And that I didn't really fit in anywhere. I was kind of going through that phase in my life where I saw all the kids that had grown up with each other in this town, and you had the different little groups and cliques, and none of them would let some outsider in very easily. And so I didn't really fit in.
Right.
And so I was angry about that. And then, of course, not having both parents, every kid I feel like goes through an angry stage in that concept that experiences parents divorcing. So I was there was a very big angry portion of me in my teenage years. So I was.
It also says in that book that the oldest takes the
I
brunt
acted
of it.
out.
Yeah.
And so I probably wasn't the perfect student.
Yeah, generally speaking, with the oldest that gets all the responsibility when the parents separate or divorce, they are the ones that generally will act out the biggest because now they're getting more responsibility and they don't get a chance to be who they are.
Yeah.
But anyway, so going to the other spot of that is understanding where you are in the pecking order will actually explain to you how your parents treat you growing up through life and how others do. Because it just gives you education. Because generally speaking, the youngest are the ones that are egotistical, which I've been called egotistical all my life.
Yeah.
They get called not authentic. I've been called that all of my life. And we also are the ones that are generally almost always trying to please everybody else.
Really?
Yes. The youngest is almost because they want to continue to get that, get made on from others, just like their parents did because they're the youngest. And so they go through life trying to please everybody. They want to be
doted on or whatever.
Right.
And so they go
you're so nice. You're so good. And understanding that is, generally speaking, you know something, just a fun fact. Generally, the youngest are the ones that are non-professional. Like they don't have a professional career according to the terms. And they are the ones that will genuinely try to become something else that's in their older siblings, but yet they will start it and not finish it. And then the oldest is generally the one that normally has the bigger family. But in your case, it's much different because it actually changes it because your parents divorced. And then the oldest will have the bigger family, and then the other siblings try to constantly mimic them.
I see. Yeah.
And so it's but it does say in there that it's different when the parents divorce.
Yeah.
But anyway, so if you'll have an understanding of those things, anybody does, they'll kind of get a better understanding of how they are in their life as well.
Absolutely.
Like to this point, I can almost tell every time I sit down with somebody and talk to them. Where they are in their pecking order. Yeah. Because the oldest is generally have that calm demeanor. They talk because they got given so much responsibility when they were younger. They had to take care of their younger siblings.
Yeah.
And so they become matured earlier, and they learn to de-escalate things.
Yeah, absolutely.
The youngest never learned to de-escalate because generally they were the ones causing the problems that needed to be de-escalated.
Yes.
And so, and when it creates a more passive-aggressive life when they're older, they will be more backstabbing, what everybody compares to be backstabbing. But they almost always have ended up with a long-term career. The middle child, they just get left out. They're isolated. They isolate themselves a lot. They play the mediator between everybody else. That's what they generally put themselves into. But anyway, so I kind of took over the podcast a little bit.
You commandeered the whole stinking
I did,
thing.
of course.
Well, I mean, just to bring it back around, my recommendation is to look at the word success and how are you defining it, and who are you using as the symbolic placeholder of that,
right?
And the story that you've possibly created about that symbolic placeholder being accurate or not, especially if you're going to judge yourself and judge your journey based on that.
Yeah.
The most beneficial thing is to judge yourself from your own self. Use yourself as your own idol, because every single thing that you do, everything that you've done is a success because you came to this planet in your human meat suit to have experiences and have events happen and to experience those. And then that's all a type of and a level of success. So I would recommend strongly not to even use anybody outside of you to symbolize success and try to mimic.
Right.
Check in with yourself and redefine the word success. Or, like I said, I'm kind of at a place where I'm trying to decide, is that word even necessary in my experience anymore? Or is it even necessary at this point to even
use the word,
have a definition, or use the word at all? Because I've kind of come to that place at this point that everything I've done is successful because it served a purpose.
Yeah, I agree.
It served a purpose of me becoming who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing today.
Yes.
As identified by whatever the journey is that I'm following at the time.
For sure.
So that means that every single bit of it is successful.
Yes, I agree completely. I feel good about this podcast. I actually feel complete.
Yeah.
You feel complete?
Good. Yeah.
I do. Hey, guys, I appreciate y'all listening. Don't forget to like, follow, and share. Check out the website, www.themerchcenters.org. You can go on there, hit the merch store, and pick up some of that awesome merch that we have in there. And keep an eye out for the event that we're going to be putting together in DFW.
A live one in person.
Yeah, we're going to do a live event. We're going to. The subject is going to be metaphysical business based on beliefs. So, and how to grow your metaphysical business.
I see.
And that's going to be probably in the Euless area. So, or Hearst. I'm sorry, in Hearst area. I said that wrong. Let's see here. What else do we have to talk about? Jindan Yoga. Don't forget to go check it out. JindanYoga.net. You can follow Danielle and her teachings and Jenny's collaboration between the two Chinese Meridian Network and the traditional yoga. Yeah. It's all put together. It's all intertangled, and it almost feels like it was supposed to be there from the beginning. Right. Almost like it's supposed to be there. Yeah. Because it does work right out. It's a great little flow. Absolutely. Check it out. JindanYoga.net. Sign up. You can become a member there, or you can check out the shorts on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. It's on everywhere. Same thing as our stuff. And don't forget to go follow lucidianworld.com and sign up for there and subscribe in that, and sign up to be early bird practitioner or a user. Yep. It's going to be quite fun once we get it there. Yep.
where it's still following its journey and being worked on and
Yep, for sure.
unfolding, and
For sure.
we want it to function perfectly, and so we're letting it take whatever time it needs to. And
Correct. I totally agree. Anyway, don't forget to like, follow, share, and
ring that bell.
hey guys, we hope you all have an awesome day.
Love ya.